In 1995, at one of the general board meetings, the bishop gave the State of the Church address, as it were, Episcopal address it's called, Bishop Cummings, Frank Cummings.
Okay.
And in that address, he says, the church has to begin to think about electing a female bishop in the near future. And I don't remember anything else about that address. That phrase stuck in my mind.
Oh, my God. Oh,
and I remember,
that's powerful.
I was a member of the Commission of Women in Ministry. I had been president in 1984 to 1988 of the Women in Ministry. And I went back to the commission that day following the address, the following day, and I said to them, Bishop has given us an opening, but we have to help him close it. And I think it's appropriate that Women in Ministry Commission would say to the church should look to electing a woman by 2000, because 96 was coming up. I knew it would not be possible to do that. But in 5 years, we would be able to work toward that. And so we got the General Board to pass the resolution recommending to the church that it elect a woman by 2000 to the bench of bishops. I came home content with that because it had never been a thought of mine to run for bishop. But in the months between that meeting, which was about June, I think, until the annual conference here in Los Angeles, which was then, well, I guess our planning meeting was like October, November, God began to trouble my heart and say to me, okay, we've got the resolution in place, but there is no woman who has signed up to run for bishop. You need to run. And the Lord just really began to try and said, Lord, you know, I don't want to be a bishop. I don't want to be. So I remember talking to my son about it. At this time, I'm a widow. My husband has died. And so I began to talk to my sons about that, and they encouraged me. And so I filed the papers, and I didn't know how to do it. I filed the papers, and then I informed my bishop that I was doing it. We had a candidate in Los Angeles, Reverend T. Larry Kirkland, who had run and was up for running. And so I didn't know I was supposed to tell the bishop first and get his permission. So I filed the papers and asked him for a letter. And but he was careful to tell me, now we have a senior candidate, and you have the privilege of running, but we have to support our senior candidate. And but I ran, and for the first time in the history of the church, garnered enough votes on the first ballot so that I was invited to the negotiation room. And in the history of the church, the first woman to be invited to the negotiations room. I didn't have enough to win, obviously, but I came out after the second ballot and gave my support to Bishop, who is now Bishop T. Larry Kirkland. But continued to run between 96 and 2000. And Bishop Vashti McKenzie also started her campaign after the 96 conference, and so the two of us were running. And the church was fortunate. It had two well-qualified women to choose from. But of course, in the politics of the church, there was the jockeying about not electing a woman until 2004, when they had more people coming off the bench, and you know, we're not going to elect a woman right now. But as God would have it, the Southern Baptists started talking about not ordaining women, not affirming women, and everybody was just so put out at them, you know? And we have a fierce lay leader in the church, woman, Dr. Jamie Coleman Williams, who literally started talking to the bishops about that attitude about not electing a woman and saying, you're no better than Southern Baptists if we don't follow through on our promise. Well, we didn't want to have that kind of egg on our face.
Of course not.
And, but obviously, the politics said we won't elect two. But I am grateful that God used me even to get that first one on the bench. And she has been so awesome.
That's powerful.
that never again can the church say women can't do it, because she did a magnificent job. Her first 4 years assigned to Africa, Southern Africa,
Oh, my goodness.
Swaziland, Botswana, in that area, and did a fantastic job. People loved her, loved her husband. And now she's reassigned to Kentucky, Tennessee, 13th District.
Okay.
But she set the bar
Okay.
so that when we came back in 2004, not only did they elect one woman, they elected two.
Powerful.
So now we have 3 women in the
That
African
is powerful. That's